Jochen and I took our sailboat Breeze from Tacoma up to Blake Island on Labor Day weekend, and it was an awesome trip. We went up through the Colville Passage, and we did have to motor some, but eventually we got our sails up and did lots of tacking up the narrow channel.
So cute. Oh my gosh. Look at their little tender.
When we got to Blake Island, it was late in the afternoon, and we dropped our hook on the south side of the island and took the dogs to shore. And we were able to have a really nice little hike with the dogs. And it was the golden hour for sure. And Eddie had his own little special backpack. I think he was still cold. And here is Breeze just sitting out anchored. That's Mount Tahoma. And we made it back for sunset and some nice dinner. And we had a really amazing night and probably had a couple of beers too. When we got up in the morning, we saw a family of deer on the shore, and our dog Hazel was extremely interested in that.
This is how strong the current is. We are anchored, and this is the current going by us. Holy cow. Pretty insane. And luckily our anchor is holding.
We picked up the hook and we were able to sail through Rich's Passage and all the way up into Bremerton because we had plans to go to the Blackberry Festival and had a slip rented for the night in Bremerton. It was a total change of pace getting to Bremerton and being plopped in the middle of a festival. But we enjoyed our blackberry margaritas and the live music, and we had a good time. It was cool to walk around the marina. It is a naval shipyard, so they do repairs, and it was pretty packed that weekend. I think a lot of visitors, and I always like walking around marinas. The next morning, we walked into town, and I took a video of this little street because it was pretty cute. Bremerton, it's got its attributes. It's definitely got that small town vibe to it. And it was pretty sleepy. I think it was Sunday before Labor Day, and we were just walking around with the dogs, checking things out, and had decided to not stay a second night in Bremerton and to hit the road. And we ended up having to motor back most of the way and decided to go back to Blake Island and enjoy kind of more of a nature weekend rather than loud festival going. A cool thing when you're sailing around in the Puget Sound is all the ferries that you see, and I'll tell you, they're going along at a clip, so you got to get out of their way. And it's pretty cool. I think that's the ferry goes from Seattle to Bremerton. And when we got back to Blake Island, we found a mooring ball that was open a little bit more to the west, but still on the south side of the island. And the current was, we were hoping the current wasn't going to be as strong. And it was an amazing day for Labor Day. So we blew up our stand-up paddle boards and we decided to paddle around to the north side of the island and put Hazel on the board and there's a little marina on the north side, and it's a pretty cool paddle because you can see Seattle and then you come into this little marina, which is part of the state park, and it was really cool.
Duck in the dinghies.
Go, Hazel. Jump.
When we got back to the boat, I was certainly ready for a cold one, and Jochen was still clowning around in the water.
Hello, neighbor. I was paddling here from Bremerton.
Really? All the way from Bremerton?
Yeah,
You must need a cold one.
I'm an animal.
You want to...
Oh, you're inviting me for a beer? I would gladly come on board.
Well, we did have those beers on the deck and enjoying the sun, and it was just such a relaxing Labor Day. And those afternoon beers, they gave way to sundowners, as they do sailing. And we had an epic sunset on the Puget Sound. The next morning, we went to shore because we wanted to hike around the island.
Over there is Breeze, our boat. And this is the day of our Labor Day. Beach. I think we're going to walk around the entire island, Lake Island. There's Hazel and Rachel. And there's Seattle.
Blake Island has a network of hiking trails that go all through the island, and we saw some deer and had a really nice hike. And when we got to the south part, we could have this view down into the Colville Passage, where we had come up to get to Blake Island from Tacoma on our way in on the beginning of the trip.
Very special light.
Well, we got back to Breeze after our hike and had some lunch, and then we headed out, and we had amazing wind, and everything was going well until Jochen got hurt. Not really.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, you need your shoes on. Damn it. You want your shoes on, baby?
Yes.
I didn't say to take them off. I just said, watch my feet. Mind my feet. Was like, hey, pay attention. My feet are right here.
Jochen and I definitely had a running joke about him stepping on my feet, or me being afraid of him stepping on my feet, because I like to be barefoot in the cockpit, and he wants to have on his shoes, and I had a broken foot, and I was always paranoid that he was going to step on me. But then he took off his shoes and he stubbed his toe. So I guess it was kind of an inside joke. We had really great wind all the way down past Des Moines and going through Vashon Island in Des Moines, and I think we had the boat up to 7 knots and saw some other sailors out there enjoying. I think there's always a lot of wind right around there, right outside Des Moines, or at least when we've been up there. It's always been good wind and a lot of fun. And we made it back to Tacoma and motored through the Foss Waterway just as the sun was going down, and it was just the best Labor Day trip we could have asked for.